RFK Jr. was back for a second day of testimony on Thursday. This time, Kennedy appeared before the Senate Health Committee. Wednesday was before the Senate Finance Committee. During 2 days of testimony, Robert Kennedy Jr. refused to say the COVID vaccine saved millions of lives. This is who Donald Trump wants to put in charge of Health and Human Services. Kennedy wouldn't say whether vaccines cause autism, and he wouldn't apologize for constantly claiming that they do cause autism. Senate Republican from Louisiana, Dr. Bill Cassidy, chairs the Senate Health Committee, which held Thursday's hearings. Yesterday, Dr. Cassidy told Kennedy he's, quote unquote, struggling over this nomination. Dr. Cassidy repeatedly asked Kennedy to renounce his claims that there's a link between vaccines and autism. Kennedy said he's still waiting for evidence that proves otherwise before he takes back what he says and apologizes. So Dr. Cassidy held up stacks of evidence, study after study, proving there's no link between vaccines and autism. But Kennedy, a lawyer, not a doctor, refused to apologize or take back the claim that vaccines cause autism. But who needs to hear from a doctor when we've got football coach Senator Tommy Tuberville, who praised Kennedy and said, you know, my son decided not to get his daughter vaccinated for anything after my son did his own research. Yeah, your son did his own research. In other words, he listened to Joe Rogan's podcast on his way to going to hit golf balls. Senator Ron Paul is an ophthalmologist. I guess that's a doctor. During the hearings, Dr. Paul said babies didn't need a hepatitis B shot. Dr. Bill Cassidy, also a doctor, took exception to that. So all it takes is 4 Republican senators to vote no. That sinks Kennedy's nomination to head Health and Human Services. If Dr. Cassidy votes no, and it looks like he might, then Lisa Murkowski, Republican from Alaska, and Sue Collins, Republican from Maine, will probably follow suit. Well, that's only 3. You need 4. The New York Times reporting that Mitch McConnell is a polio survivor as well as an outspoken critic of anti-vaxxers. McConnell stepped up last Friday and voted against Pete Hegseth. There is a distinct possibility Mitch McConnell could be the 4th vote that sinks Kennedy. 1,500 doctors and researchers, 75 Nobel laureates signed a letter urging the Senate to vote no on Kennedy. But what does Jimmy Dore think? During questioning from Bernie Sanders, Kennedy refused to say health care is a human right. This is the son of Bobby Kennedy, who wouldn't say health care is a human right? Kennedy said he was on Medicare Advantage. He's 71. He said, I'm 71, I'm on Medicare Advantage. And he said Medicare Advantage is what every senior should be on, but they just can't afford it. Right there is proof that Bobby Kennedy Jr. is unqualified to run HHS. Anybody stupid enough to go on Medicare Advantage and arrogant enough to say this is what seniors should be on, he should be stripped of the name Bobby Kennedy. Anybody who's on Medicare Advantage is being ripped off, and this is a Trojan horse trying to privatize Medicare. Tell your grandparents, do not go on Medicare Advantage. For Bobby Kennedy to sing the praises of Medicare Advantage, he should be disbarred. He shouldn't even be allowed to practice law. Kennedy then said Americans prefer private insurance to government health care. Yes, he said that. This is what the son of Bobby Kennedy said. He said Americans prefer private insurance to government health care. One of the reasons we have Medicare is because his uncle was assassinated. his uncle, John F. Kennedy, was trying to get Medicare injected into Social Security before he was assassinated. Lyndon Johnson used that assassination, the political goodwill, to get Medicare passed in honor of Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s uncle. And you have this arrogant, ignorant POS saying Americans prefer private insurance to government health care? Ask the veterans. Ask veterans if they want to give up the VA for Medicare Advantage. A lot of veterans go on Medicare Advantage, Bobby. And you know what? They end up using the VA instead. Ask the people on Medicare if they want to just turn it all over to private insurance. Ask the people on Medicaid. And you know what? Bobby Kennedy is so ignorant and ill-informed. The audience, some members of the audience, laughed when Robert Kennedy Jr. said Americans prefer private insurance to government health. Where's he been since Luigi Mangione? Have you been paying attention to the response to Luigi Mangione? The audience laughed. It's some people laughed. And Bobby Kennedy Jr. took umbrage, and after the audience laughed at his stupidity, Kennedy responded by saying, "You might laugh, but most Americans are unhappy with Medicaid." A lie. And he doesn't understand how Medicaid works. He talks about Medicaid. He thinks people on Medicaid pay premiums. Kennedy, throughout 2 days of testimony, said repeatedly every abortion is a tragedy and promised to hire pro-life staffers. He refused to say whether he'd safeguard the use of the abortion pill mifepristone, which I don't know how to pronounce, but he wouldn't guarantee that the abortion pill would be available nationwide to women in red states. He called gender transition care for minors, quote, unconscionable and catastrophic.